Hello, my name is Jerry Martinez, and I will be talking about the history of the juvenile system in the United States of America. The definition of juvenile justice. The juvenile justice system is a legal framework designed to handle minors who engage in criminal behavior or are deemed delinquent. It differs from adult justice system by focusing on rehabilitation rather than punishment. The purpose of the juvenile justice system is the system aims to provide guidance, rehabilitation, and in some cases, protective custody for young offenders. Key differences from the adult criminal system is, unlike adults, juveniles are treated based on their developmental stage with an emphasis on intervention rather than incarceration. The juvenile justice system in America is interesting. For example, the early treatment of juveniles, which was in the pre-19th century, was children as young as 7 were tried as adults in colonial America. Harsh punishments, including imprisonment with adults and corporal punishment, were common. And now the birth of the juvenile justice system occurred in the 19th century. In 1825, the New York House of Refuge was established to reform juvenile offenders rather than punish them. The Juvenile Court Act of 1899 in Illinois created the first juvenile court, emphasizing rehabilitation and separate legal proceedings for minors. And in the mid-20th century, there were reforms, expansions of the juvenile courts across the United States, and the Supreme Court cases such as In re Gold in 1967 granted juveniles due process rights. And now in the modern developments, the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act, which occurred in 1974, aimed to prevent youth incarceration in adult facilities, and it shifted toward rehabilitation programs, restorative justice, and diversion initiatives. Juvenile court processes, referral and intake. Law enforcement, schools, parents, or other agencies refer juveniles to the system. An intake officer reviews the case to determine if it should proceed or be handled informally. The detention hearing. If a minor is detained, a hearing is held to decide if continued detention is necessary or if the minor can be released under supervision. Adjunction hearing, which is equivalent to a trial. Unlike adult trials, these hearings do not involve juries. Instead, a judge reviews evidence to determine whether the minor committed the offense. Disposition. If found delinquent, sentencing options including probation, diversion programs, community service, counseling, or placement in a juvenile facility. Post-disposition. After completing a sentence, juveniles may receive services like monitoring, vocational training, or therapy to help reintegrate into society and reduce recidivism. In the United States, there are several juvenile institutions and rehabilitation programs. Juvenile detention centers are temporary holding facilities for youth awaiting trial or sentencing. Training schools and reformatories are long-term facilities providing education, therapy, and vocational training. Community-based programs are probation mentorship programs and family counseling to prevent recidivism. And restorative justice initiatives are programs that focus on mediation between offenders and victims to promote accountability. Relevance to the criminal justice system. The courts. Juvenile courts operate separately, focusing on rehabilitation rather than punishment. Specialized juvenile officers handle youth-related crimes and diversion programs. The corrections have an emphasis on rehabilitation over incarceration, with alternatives like probation and community service. The policy and future trends have an increased focus on reducing racial disparities, expanding mental health services, and integrating trauma-informed care into juvenile justice. Here are my references, and this concludes the presentation. Thank you for listening.